But we talking about the Hawks now, baby. They acting right. Well, we can't never have multiple teams act right.
No, we only got enough juju. But before we get to the Hawks, hey man, you heard about AJ Dybantsa? AJ Dybantsa? Yeah, Dybantsa. He signed to go to BYU, $10 million NIL deal.
Allegedly. For me, this has been an orchestrated move for a while. This is a kid from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Who moved to Utah to go to a prep school. I'm a firm believer that he probably got $3 million to leave Massachusetts to come to Utah.
Has a no trade clause in his contract.
I'm not worried about that. He's not that guy either. I think that he's a perfect guy for a no trade clause. Because if he's not wanted somewhere, he gonna move around. I'm not worried about that. But Dybantsa, I think he got $3 million to go pay for that prep school. That was the deal orchestrated by the dude who owns the Utah Jazz. I think it's a long con for the dude from the Utah Jazz to get AJ Dybantsa to the Utah Jazz. I think that he's cultivated this dude and said, oh, I'm going to buy me a player and I'm going to get him to a Utah prep school. And then after I get him to a Utah prep school, then after that, I'm going to get him to BYU, where I'm an alum. And then after that, I'm going to add him to the Utah Jazz. And I think that him and Lloyd Markkanen and Walker Kessler and Keontae George, they're going to be surely something in the future. And Kyle Filipowski. Maybe John Collins, maybe not.
Boy, but if that doesn't work out, I mean, he's a billionaire, so it don't matter. He'll just try it again.
No. Yeah, if it doesn't work out, I did my damnedest to try to make something happen. And he's a BYU alum. It's like winning a championship. I mean, I'm a billionaire. If I was a billionaire, I'd buy me a good Hampton player and get us a CAA championship. And if I could get him to the Falcons, or if I could get him to the Hawks, that would be great. But if I just got me a Hampton championship and I'm a billionaire and it cost me $10 million, I'm mostly happy.
Yeah, I don't know if the powers that be would let this rock, because if this rocks, then you basically have an NIL portal straight from middle school to the NBA or to the NFL.
You bought your child. You bought a child.
We are in trafficking. We are in full traffic mode at this point. What you're telling me, you got him from his parents at 15 or 6. He's 17 now, so he's 15.
Let me clarify. I'm not telling you anything. I'm reporting on the news that was provided.
No, you're right. I didn't mean you're telling me.
Clarify that now. Don't get at me, my boy.
But essentially what's happening is, I'm going to pay you for your child, and I'm going to pay you every year for him. And then once he gets to the NBA, he is now my property. And I'm going to basically stake a claim on my property from middle school. And college, now as I talked through it, college football does the same thing. Nick Saban was offering 7th graders.
We just talked about the kid that was on the 7U team, the transfer. And the other part is, a lot of things still have to kind of fall their way. You got to get the ping pong balls. You got to draft him. All of those things. What you're truly doing is,
what's their picks? Don't they got a crap ton of picks?
Yes, yeah. You put your foot on the scale. That's what you're doing. You're like kind of buying insurance. I'm doing my best to swing this in my favor. It's not 100% for sure, but if I can do certain things, it increases my probability.
Yeah. Well,
and it's Utah, bro. We're not getting any free agents. Nobody's like, oh boy, I'm happy to go to Utah. So yeah, you're right. I got to cheat. How else am I gonna get a player?
Oh man, I know we gotta talk. We're gonna talk about the Hawks now, but I'm still so just disgusted with the Falcons, just for how this whole situation played out.
Gotta let that hurt go, brother.
It should be expected, right? I should have expected for the Falcons for this to blow up. When this happened and we signed Kirk Cousins, my initial reaction was correct.
Wait. While we playing, Doc Rivers and got Milwaukee up by 19 against OKC.
I've been watching this whole thing, and they are smoking OKC.
Hey, Doc said y'all laughed at my jump shot. How about being up by 19 now? I might
it
not
is
be
8 minutes left
in
the fourth, and they have 69 points. Giannis
and remember,
only has 14.
It was tied around half.
51-50. 51-50 at halftime.
But I mean, at the end of the day, my expectations were the Falcons were way more conceptual. I would have liked to win the NFC South. But if we don't win the NFC South and Michael Penix is a good quarterback, I don't care.
And I know that's
probably,
if you don't win the NFC South, you will not be a quarterback.
Yeah. Kirk. And I think that Kirk is a very realistic person. Like, even where I listened to him talk today, he said I gotta be better. I think that he understands he hasn't played well enough to complain. I do think that for sure. And I do think, as much as I haven't been impressed with necessarily his play, I think Kirk is high integrity. If y'all want to trade me somewhere, let's get together and find a place for me to be. That's it. But I don't want to be here if I'm not wanted here. I've made enough money and I've kind of lived on betting on me that if y'all want me here, I'll get on out your way.
There's nowhere for him to go. I guess that's the part that I'm saying. There's nowhere for him to go. Nowhere.
I think
unless he got Oakland. And Oakland laughing at us because they're not gonna help us because we screwed them over.
Even if we have to pay 80% or 90%, 80% or 90% ain't 100%.
Yeah, and that way you don't have what you're really trying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. What you're really trying to do with Kirk Cousins is get off the dead money, the dead cap hit.
Yeah,
you could trade him. That dead cap hit goes somewhere else. We would rather pay you 10, 30 million, or we'll even pay you 47, 20 of the other year that we owe you.
We just don't want to be back money like we were with Matt Ryan. Now, that's a different situation, different setup, but you just don't want that money lingering over your head for no.
Got the same thing.
Well, no, because Matt Ryan was number one, was playing better, and the other part was hell yeah.
But yeah. I mean, towards the end of that, we knew at the end of that contract he wasn't going to be right because that contract was escalating.
Right. But I mean, it is what it is. It was inevitable. Would we have liked it to probably transpired a little bit differently? Yeah, but we were due. It's life. And we'll move on. Like what Trey say, we move. And now look at the Hawks. They playing like they got some sense. So it's life.
As Norwood mentioned, we are watching what is it called? The tournament, in-season tournament, where the Bucks and the
Emirates
Thunder are playing.
NBA Cup, number 1 versus 2, Milwaukee Bucks against the OKC Thunder. This year. Oh.
And so how these two teams got there, we got a lullaby. Milwaukee.
I'm old. My wife tell me to go to bed.
Milwaukee defeated the Hawks to get there, but the Hawks defeated the Knicks to get to the semifinals. And Trae Young cooked the Knicks again in a different manner, a little bit mature manner. But he ended up winning, of course, as the showman. He starts rolling dice because they booked their flight to Vegas. I like this new Trae Young, dog. Not gonna lie to you.
I'm pleasantly surprised with who he is and what he's done so far. Now, the one thing, please don't call me a hater, but
don't be a hater.
Wait, hold on. First, Trae has played much closer to what me and you have asked for the last 2 years, without a shadow of a doubt. He's found a way to play off the ball. When Jalen is on the court, he doesn't dominate the ball in the same manner that he did before. Seeing him play off the ball, run off screens is unbelievable. And I think that's something he could be good at. Now, we're also paying you a supermax contract. My request is still that you make shots at a reasonable clip. He's done everything else well, but the shot just ain't there yet. And I'm okay with it not being there yet, but we're in the second lap of the season. I need you to find your shot before All-Star. That we got to have happen. And
yeah.
hold on. And Ricochet. Bro, I think you play good defense. I think you've been a competent adult as far as a rookie. You got to be able to I need 10 points out of you. I need 10 points out of Ricochet. And I don't think 10 points out of the number one pick is unreasonable. And Trey, I just need you to be a decent shooter. I'm not asking you to be a world beater. I'm not asking you to be Steph, but you got to make a decent amount of shots. Because that's really the difference. Shout out to the Sixers giving us a spot. Because the Sixers just being terrible has really opened up a spot for us to be a decent basketball team. The Bulls not quite figuring it out yet or making a decision on what way that they're going. The Hawks we just got one direction to go. And sometimes only having one available direction is the best thing. Is, hey, all we can do is win games. We don't have control over our pick. That goes to the Lakers. So the only thing we can do is try to win every game.
Yeah. Few things. I like how Trey has been hustling on defense.
Oh my God.
Hold
on. Can we get a round of applause for that, please?
Make sure that
I'll clap myself. He is Dyson Daniels' defense effect. Him doing these small things, even though you're 5'10", 5'11", 164 pounds, your effort, your hustle. Look at that. He flew out to AJ Green. Then follow AJ Green, block the shot. It's not about whether or not you can do it. It's the effort that you set as the highest paid player.
right.
We not ask you to stop nobody. We not ask you to lock nobody down. We just not ask you to put our bigs in a position where you just lay the offensive guy every time. This was great. I told you in real time. I said, did you see Trey play as hard as he possibly could?
One, him playing defense has been impressive. I was saying, the Dyson Daniels effect is real, but the Hawks released well, not even the Hawks. It was ESPN and FanDuel TV, formerly known as Bally Sports, did a story about how the ownership kind of approached Trey about being more of a vocal leader and being more seen. I think the combination of him maturing and them building the team around him, right? So with him being able to play off the ball more because you have a big that can drive and can facilitate. Whereas if you have DeJounte Murray, who is more like him, whereas you have Jalen Johnson, who can get to the cup and is still looking to pass, et cetera, at 6'10". He can also post. So I think the team has been built better around him. Shout out to Landry for going through iteration of iteration. This is the third iteration around Trey for him. So I do think that they built the team around him. Dyson Daniels, of course, because we're not all the way healthy. But you also you gotta applaud that he
This
has
is what I will say.
Well, hold on, because I don't want to lose my thought. He matured to the point now where him playing off the ball is more of him trying to get everybody involved. And he's finally gotten to the point where he's learning when to take over. He doesn't take all of those crazy shots, even though he does. He's reserved to a point of taking those crazy shots when pretty much the game is over. Like when the game is over, he gonna fire a couple of them. Or
we're down.
if he's hot, he gonna try to hit you with the dagger still.
He always gonna try to kill me, and I'm mostly okay with that. As long as, and I think he's doing a better job. Pause of picking the dagger, and I always want. I think he does a better job. And at the end of the day, as much as Trey has driven me crazy in the past, I do like that he tries to kill you, because you have so many players who just won't. Like, let's end this right now. Let's get everybody on home. Let's go ahead and finish this game. One thing that Trey Young is going to do his best to do is murder you.
Yeah.
And I think that as much as other things have driven me crazy, I've always respected and appreciated. When it's time to end you, if we up by 10, let's go to 13 and send these boys home every time. Or if it's 9, I want to go to 12. I do want to break your spirit. And that's a trait that you need to have. I'm happy that he's playing off the ball. I think that he also had the coming to Jesus moment where we'll move on without you if you don't get right this time. I don't think that this is the best team to be around Trey Young, but I think that sometimes you have to have that coming to God that if you don't get it done with this, then we will surely move on without you with Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Dyson Daniels. We'll find a new point guard.
It's interesting that you keep referencing off the ball, and he has led the league in total assists the last 2 seasons. He's averaging 12.2 assists this year playing off the ball more, which is why I keep saying again, and we can bring up John Collins because I know that's always a point of reference. John Collins just wasn't a good fit for Trey then. I think he would be a great fit now. I'm actually sold on him being the small ball or being the 5 and bringing Capella off the bench. But at this point, Trey being with Dyson Daniels, who is a pleasant surprise, and also Trey y'all can't lose sight of the fact that DeAndre Hunter is healthy, and he's healthy because he's coming off the bench versus having to play all of those minutes. And DeAndre Hunter may be mid in the starting 5 amongst the starters, but let me tell you what he's not. He is not mid when he plays against your bench. He is a killer.
And as much as he plays against your bench, if you look at the minutes that he plays starter minutes. I see what Quinn does. Quinn really kind of tires your starting 5 out, stealing time with Shea and Dyson. He gonna typically close the game with Bogey and Hunter. But we can
Bogey be on the bench with because Dyson
but I think that Bogey at this point is still a better player than Dyson. Dyson is really good, but when it's time to close the game, Bogey is still probably one of the top 5, 6 best 3-point shooters in the NBA, hands down. So if we can kind of stem the tides in the beginning and just kind of get it done early with Trey and Jalen, and Dyson playing opportunistic defense and Shea just being there, then when we go to our bench, you don't got a bench that good. You don't have a bench that has a Onyeka Okongwu top 5 pick. You don't have a bench with DeAndre Hunter top 10 pick. You don't have a bench with Bogey, who's an elite 3-point shooter. And then we have who's the other person we play on the bench? Now, no. Now, this is the Hawks' problem, and it's been the problem since Trey has gotten here. And I don't understand what we're doing right now, and I have an issue with it. We refuse to develop the talent at backup point guard, period. And I don't know why we've gone to Veet, these last 3 games and
Buffkin
not
didn't dress
like
up.
he's not hurt. You got to just leave. I like Veet. I like the idea of Veet. Sure. Great team guy, all the vibes in the world. You got to use your money the right way. You drafted Kobe Buffkin as a first-round draft pick. You got to find a way to develop him. He has to be our legitimate backup point guard. That is the one position we have consistently neglected in a way that's cost us. And right now, it's still costing us. You got to leave Kobe as the backup point guard, and you got to let him play until you develop him into a legitimate backup point guard.
Do the Hawks make a move at free agency? And
Maybe.
what if they do? What do you get?
I'm going to tell you what my answer is. You got to find a center. The Okongwu Capella tandem has been great, but I hate to say it, but Okongwu's too small. He's never going to work. He's never going to be able to be your starting center. And if he can't, and the reason he can't be your starting center is not because he's not good enough. He's too small to play with Trey. You can't have a small point guard and a small center. It's not going to work. So what I need you to do is find a legitimate center who can also have some level of shot, not in the paint, which is tough. I've looked at everybody. It's not a lot of great solutions, not named John Collins. And I honestly, as much as I would love John Collins to come back and be our starting 5 and then bring Clint off the bench or vice versa, whatever, I don't think that's really going to happen, which is I honestly just kind of reserved ourselves to, I guess we just got to draft another center next year. But John Collins is the right guy for the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're gonna end up with like a Paul Reed or something. I don't know if we make it. I don't know what we're doing at point guard, backup point guard. I don't know if we make.
It's got to be Buffkin. You spent the first round draft pick. Just develop him. He's big enough. He's strong enough. He's not a bad basketball player. He's been hurt, sure. But you got to develop somebody.
They like Veet though.
Quint.
They like Veet. Veet is an adult.
Veet ain't like money. Number one, you spent the draft pick on Kobe. Then get Kobe and fix it. You got to
this sounds like a Cam Reddish situation to me because they've given him a whole lot of. They've given him an opportunity. I mean, it's not like they just sent him to the G League and left him there. He be here.
He don't play consistent like Cam Reddish had 2 opportunities. Cam Reddish had an opportunity to play the 2 for a long time and to play the 3 for a long time. If just like I felt with Cam Reddish and Kevin Huerter, if you give them an adequate stretch and they don't do it, then we can move on from them. We can part as friends, and I can say, hey, like I don't look back on no Cam Reddish time and say the Hawks did him wrong. Just like Kirk Cousins. You gave him all the rope. If you can't get it done, you can't get it done. But I don't think that Kobe Buffkin has been like, hey, you're the backup point guard, and for the next 30 games, you're going to be the backup point guard every game. That's it.
You got to earn that, dog. The same thing you could say about Cam is the same thing I would say about Buffkin. They haven't really done you wrong either. You just haven't solidified yourself as the backup point guard.
But the difference is Veet is on the cheapest possible contract in the NBA for the next 4 years. You spent the money on Kobe Buffkin. You spent that draft pick. Just let it rock. If it don't work, it don't work. But you got to give him. I don't think that he's been given an adequate amount of time. And then just not to play him for 3 or 4 games. We've always, like since Trey's been there, there's not been one reasonable backup point guard. Not one. And it's a job where you
had the opportunity. We'd had one that was DeLon, but he went and got paid. So I mean,
yeah. But even that, DeLon wasn't really the answer for the future because of his I mean, he could have been okay, but just play Kobe. He plays good enough, and every now and then he'll light up. But I think that his confidence is not there more than anything. Oh yeah, I like Buffkin a lot.
I do too, but I ain't never seen him light up. I think
that he's a good defender. He's a bigger guard. I think he's more than capable, but we gotta stop playing that backup point guard position. It's not that many minutes, but those are key minutes. Because if you can just stem the tide in the time that you don't play Trey, then this is, if we could just be zeroed out, you don't have to be plus or minus. If we can be a zero while Trey's not on the floor, we're a different team. But you getting out there and not playing like we get out there sometimes with no point guard at all, bro. That ain't gonna work. It's stupid.
Hey man, I'm not gonna. I'm a trust Quinn on this one because obviously y'all ain't seen something, and the moves you made are working so far. So I'm gonna leave it there.
We need a backup, like that backup point guard. For me personally, that's the one thing that we have never even really attempted to address, and pisses me off. And that might be a personal issue for me.
So moving on, yeah, I can tell that was a good
my
rant.
bad.
Moving on to the 76ers. They're broken. Everybody's broken. Joel Embiid's face is broken.
You're not gonna break my soul. You're not break my soul.
Joel Embiid's face is broken. Jared McCain suffered a torn lateral meniscus in his left knee, out indefinitely. Paul George legs be buckling every game. This the same knee.
Maxey leg fell off too for a little bit. Shout out to those guys. You're the reason that we're in the conversation right now. This is a team that's supposed to be better than us, that allows us to be better than them because their whole team is hurt. That's it.
I got nothing. Like I don't know if I've seen this in basketball. Like, but you kind of knew Joel Embiid wasn't gonna be. His better days are behind him. But Jared McCain, Maxey, we kind of knew Paul George. Paul George been made of glass for a little bit. You kind of knew that was happening, but dog.
It's like Orlando. It's like Orlando when they lost Powell, and then after they lost Powell, they lost. I mean,
I don't know where you're going with that one.
Well, they lost Paulo, and then after they lost Paulo from an oblique, they were still playing really good, and they lost Franz. Like the injury,
but Orlando is a deeper team.
You're right.
The Sixers, the four players that the Sixers have are all hurt. You can't count on Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure that the Magic are a deeper team. It's just the Sixers. Every good player for you has been hurt. Like everybody who's good is hurt. Nobody can deal with their top four players being hurt. Period. But their top four players being hurt is allowing the Hawks to be 7. The Pacers, they've regressed.
Yeah.
And then you got Miami at 6. You got the Bucks, who took forever to figure it out. They just, congratulations on those guys winning the Emirates Cup. But them taking a while to figure it out has helped us out. The Magic losing games because they're hurt. And then the Heat not knowing exactly what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler. I think they don't want to trade Jimmy Butler, because if you trade Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal, then it's over. If you trade Jimmy Butler for Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, it's over. Like, you're gonna have to take a step back before you take a step forward.
Well, we can talk about free agency then. Well, that's not free agency, but Jimmy Butler is the latest conversation. But yesterday, the Pelicans released that everybody outside of Trey Murphy, I can't pronounce his name. Yves Missy.
Eve Missy.
Yves Missy, Trey Murphy, and what's the defensive guy?
Herb Jones.
Herb Jones. Those 3 players are the only 3 players that are untouchable. Everybody else, DeJounte, Zion, CJ, everybody.
They're desperate. They're desperate and dumb, and I'm gonna tell you why. You should have been traded Zion. I've been telling you since you got Zion, trade him. You could have traded Zion and got Julius Randle. That would have been a perfect fix for your problem. Now you want to trade him, it's way too late. You into the max. You should never gave him a max contract. He never gave you any reason to give you the max. CJ McCollum, you probably held on too long. He's too expensive as a role player at that cost. And I don't think you should bail on DeJounte Murray. There's no reason for you to bail on DeJounte Murray right now. You got to give him some time.
I don't think that this was ever going to be his destination. Once this didn't work, then he's another chess piece to move. It can't work. It can't work anymore.
I'm not in the business of trading players on good contracts. I think the DeJounte Murray $30 million contract for the next 4 years is an excellent contract. Zion is a problem here. He's eating up too much money and not playing. He's always been a problem. The DeJounte Murray contract, say what you want to, is an excellent contract. Short-term, long-term. Now, him breaking his hand early in his time with you, that sucks. But that ain't the biggest problem in your team right now. It's the guy who just never gets in shape and always has soft tissue injury.
CJ McCollum's old, so they're getting rid of him. Zion, it's time to go. And to me, you're probably going to have, you can't package anything with Zion because his contract is
so much money.
It's too high.
Zion is a problem. Everything else here is probably sustainable because you have money without Zion. Zion Williamson contract is the Trevor Lawrence of the NBA. This is the worst contract you have.
If I'm Minnesota, I go after DeJounte, even though I know LA Lakers are trying to figure out a way to make that happen.
Oh, Bron, you better this is your time.
But I think him with Ant Edwards, DeJounte and Ant in the backcourt.
Those are the two. Anthony Edwards' best case scenario. Best case scenario, because DeJounte can be the one. The one is the ones.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to see Ja Morant and DeJounte Murray because I just think there'd be terror.
Those would be the two guys. Brandon Ingram needs to go to Memphis. He has the Memphis attitude with him, Ja.
But I think that DeJounte Murray has him. You let DeJounte get to a place where we like to jump people. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but Ja, right now, ain't Ja playing the point guard right now?
Yes, you're right. But Demetrius and DeJounte, that's them two boys that grew up
fighting
on the good side of town, but they always play basketball with their cousins. You get over there, they finna sweat you the whole game. But same thing with Anthony Edwards. You want a guy who's active and aggressive as the other guard / small forward. It's the same thing to me with both of them.
Where does Zion land?
Hell. No, what can you do with this? Nothing.
Detroit.
Nothing.
He lands in Detroit.
No. Hell no. Detroit's the worst.
Oh, I know where you're going. They trying to get Kuzma. He's going to DC. They don't got nothing that they can get rid of. They can get Kuzma, bring Zion to play with Jordan Poole, and y'all can be foolish together on the court. Because Kuzma low key trying to get out of there. He's trying to grow up.
That's what happens. Kuzma grew up last year, and Jordan Poole's like, "Oh no, I see what this is. As long as I'm here, I'm trapped here. I'm the clown here. You don't want to be the clown." Kuzma was the original. No offense, Kuzma was the original clown, and then Kuzma was like, "Oh nah, I got a little bit of a jumper. I can go somewhere and they need a player like me if I'm serious about basketball. So Kuzma cleaned himself up, and now when it get closer to trade deadline, they're gonna make a move on Kuzma, and they're gonna say, "Hey, give me your bad contract. I want some draft picks and pick swaps, and you can get Kuzma and compete today." And it's not bad. And then Jordan Poole contract also heavy. Jordan Poole money a little different. He like $40 million.
Chicago's another place. Chicago, any team that's in purgatory can take some of these players.
Nah, Jordan Poole at $30 million. He's not like DeJounte Murray good, but he's close enough. If you have defense, he can be your offense.
Do you trade DeJounte Murray for Bradley Beal?
Yes, tomorrow.
If you're Phoenix,
no, you can't. I mean, do they have an extra $20 million to take? I don't think they got $20 million. Bradley Beal's $50 million. DeJounte's $30 million. That's a good contract for a bad contract. You were gonna you have to give up a draft pick or two.
I mean, you could take DeJounte and CJ. Well, CJ's contract got to be up soon. But why would New Orleans do that? So
CJ's also not cheap either. He ain't that. He's Portland. Another $33 million guy.
You looking for Switzerland? You looking for teams that you just trying to stash that can take these contracts? So you looking at Portland? You looking?
He ain't going back to Portland. That's where he came from.
Not CJ. I'm talking about Zion. $100 million, however much he make.
I mean, now I will tell you, if I'm Portland, I got a bad asset in Ayton, and I got Klingon. I might be willing to move away from Ayton if you give me Zion.
Let Zion play in the paint. And let Zion just be big in the paint. Go, pause if necessary. Drive to the basket. And just throw his weight around and let Klingon just be tall and shoot threes. I mean, it could work.
And I mean, they got Jeremy Grant, who I don't think is a good move, but I think that people.
What's Brandon Ingram's contract? He's not under contract. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Right. I think that there are three guys who are kind of in similar boats, but I feel like due to their reputations, they're mislabeled. You got Kyle Kuzma, you got Jeremy Grant, and then you got John Collins. I think the teams are way more interested in Jeremy Grant and Kyle Kuzma than John Collins, but I think that John Collins is a better bet than those two other guys.
Yeah.
But if you just look at at the chatter, Jeremy Grant and Kyle Kuzma are higher, but John Collins is a better player out of the three.
Who needs Brandon Ingram? I like this is since his.
Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, Brandon. What's his name?
Miller.
Brandon Miller, and
Ingram,
and
Brandon
Ingram. Hellacious three. That gives you 1, 2, 3.
Or Zion. But Zion just got to take too much money. But you're gonna have to pay Brandon Ingram something. Like
can't send Zion home either. Remember, that's where he's from. No, I'm not sending him there. Not a chance.
New Orleans sending him wherever you want to go. Not where he want to go, whatever they can get.
If I'm Charlotte, I'm not interested. I'm not like, you do have LaMelo, who's a legitimate asset. You got Brandon Miller, who's a legitimate asset. I'm not bringing
Brandon Miller to the Knicks. Actually, I'm sorry, Brandon Ingram to the Knicks fixes their rotational problems. Because you could put him at the Yeah, I don't know. Now, because you could put Josh Hart back on the bench where he belongs. Not saying he's not good, but he's more efficient off the bench. And Brandon Ingram gives them another scorer, which would be Brandon at Ingram at the 4. Then you put Mikal Bridges back at the 3 and OG back at the 2.
Who are you trading? You got to give somebody back. You can't have everybody. Who you giving the Pelicans because I want
They
an asset back.
Don't the Knicks have like a no? They trade them all? Did they trade all their draft picks?
I want something back. I'm not giving you Brandon Ingram for nothing. I'm not just.
Why? I mean, he's going to end up walking for nothing. I'm willing to give
salary
you
matching too. The Knicks ain't got no more money. They can't take another whatever.
What's Brandon Ingram making? 20 something million?
Yeah. Brandon Ingram contract.
See, this one we need Knicks fan TV on here. This is when we need him.
30. Well, I guess it's just $36 million this year, and then after that.
I mean, it's a rental, but I mean, with the Knicks team, and you also got to take into account. I mean, there's only one good Eastern Conference team that's set. It's Boston. Everybody else, well, I mean Milwaukee, but I mean Milwaukee.
Brandon Ingram needs to go to the Hornets. That's the right answer. They can sign him.
You trade Middleton and a pick with Giannis and Brandon Ingram. Middleton.
You're not. I'm not taking. Because I'd rather give him to Charlotte.
Well, yeah. I still think
at least give me like I could. Charlotte don't have a lot, but I will take your picks and give me like Trey Mann. Give me. It's some things I can kind of pilfer out of Charlotte to make my depth better, so that when I do feel that once everybody's healthy, I kind of move around. Yeah, give me Trey Mann and give me Nick Richards.
Toronto is another place.
Toronto.
San Antonio
is now that's a place I think is the best place for John Collins to go. I think.
Yeah, we had that conversation, but I'm talking about New Orleans. Like New Orleans got to get rid of all those guys. But I mean, we'll see because obviously there's going to be some.
San Antonio knows what they're doing. They're waiting for they're not going to rush it, and when they find a guy who they like, because the problem is that Jeremy Sochan position.
Brandon Ingram plays the same position, right? No, Sochan played a 4.
Nah, I mean, well, this is the thing. You could put Brandon Ingram at the 3 and move Harrison to the 4. Barnes.
No, at that point, it ain't no 3-4. It's a wing.
Yeah, but I think Harrison Barnes also probably like decent at rebound. Like you still got to get some boards outside of.
You have why? You also got to get blocks outside of it, but they don't matter.
No, you don't. You surely don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Sochan is getting 8.5 low key, 15 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists. It ain't. That don't suck.
DeJounte about to end up back on the Spurs.
And probably the right place for him to be too.
And
they also got Stephon Castle. If you get Stephon Castle, if you can have Stephon Castle and DeJounte Murray in the backcourt, you don't really have no problems.
Yeah.
6'6" and 6'3". Shit.
Yeah.
And
so we'll see. We'll see what happens in New Orleans. Golden State already made a move so Klay Thompson has been cooking the Warriors, which you knew he would. You knew he wasn't gonna be bad against the Warriors. But in all actuality, Klay has proven that he's still a good third option. I think what Golden State was saying was they didn't want to pay Klay for him to be a third option. And they thought that they could get younger, especially with Podziemski, who had a good second half of his first year. And then now Podziemski has been bad. And I mean, on the court, the team hasn't liked him. Off the court, they've been barking at him. He's been MIA. They don't really talk about him no more. So that forced their hand to then go get Dennis Schroeder, who was on the block. And that's actually a really, really good signing. That's your backup point guard. Good, your backup point guard. Starting point guard. I put Trey to 2. Trey. Step.
Nah, because because they've been playing Buddy.
Oh, but come off the bench.
But I don't mind Schroeder off the bench. He's a good off the bench player. He's a catalyst. He's, you know, his motor runs hot no matter where you play him. He's an NBA player. I know that they just showed him as the newest rainbow player, put him in the same group with Shaq because he's been traded, and y'all are laughing. That also means 7-8 teams found value in Dennis Schroeder. And say what you want to about him, he's an NBA player. He's tough. He's smart. He's aggressive. He's a pest. He's in the same kind of mode as like a Patrick Beverly. I'm gonna find a way to be valuable to every team that I come to. Well, he's playing for the Brooklyn Nets.
They ain't make fun of him because he was on 7-8 teams, even though he's a good player. They made fun of him because he turned down $84 million.
Sure, but I mean, he's also a guy who has the ultimate belief in himself. Like, you're right. He made a mistake on a contract, sure,
which adds to him being a rainbow player. Not,
yeah,
you know, I mean,
but also
rainbow jersey.
He's a dog. Like, when you look at a guy and you say, "Hey, man, you could have been out of the league." There are guys who have had way more talent than Dennis Schroeder who've been out of the league for a long time. But his ability to find a way to just do whatever it takes. I think
he pulled a Baker Mayfield. He was ostracized for that $84 million. He then went and wasn't that great. And he went to purgatory. He went to Brooklyn. And he built his value back up in Brooklyn. And now
he's done that multiple times. Everywhere he goes, he might, you know, it take him a little bit, but he's at like 18 or something. 18 points out of Dennis Schroeder.
I mean, he was a starter
yeah, but you also got like starter level guys over there. You got Cam Thomas, you got Nate Claxton, you got Cameron Johnson, you got other players. He scored that 18 points because he won 18 points. Schroeder is a dog, a legitimate dog. Might not be the best skilled, but if you're looking for a guy who will go try every night to bust your ass, it's Schroeder. And I think that they missed on Podzimski, whatever his name is. I don't exactly understand what they thought it was. And that kind of, to me, lends itself to some of the things that people have been always saying about Steve Kerr is he's not the greatest identifier of talent. And
yeah, it's the system. And they thought he was going to fit into the system and he didn't. That's really what it was.
You haven't gotten enough out of Moses Moody. You haven't gotten enough out of Jonathan Kuminga. And Wiseman. All of these things lend itself to you took over Mark Jackson's team and took a team that was already kind of ready to the next level, respect. But now that you've had to kind of go back and stoop down with worn down tools and make it happen, you've just kind of deferred to, hey, Steph, can you fix it?
Didn't they win like 2 years ago?
But you didn't let me finish. I said you just basically deferred to Steph, like, Steph, can you save me? I don't think that out of all the players that Steve Kerr has drafted and had on his team, I don't think that he's really brought the absolute best out of players. I think that Steph Curry is just found a renaissance later in his career and playing out of his mind, and Steve Kerr's just leaning on the everlasting. For me, I think that Kuminga is a good basketball player. I think that you could get more out of Moses Moody. I think that you could get more out of Andrew Wiggins.
You can say that about any coach that has a really, really good player. I'm assuming we think Steph is top 10, top 5, top something in the top echelon, top 1% of the 1% of players of all time. So, I mean, and the players that are up there like Michael Jordan, you don't think, Phil Jackson is a great developer of talent?
I do think that Phil Jackson got the best out of those other guys. I think that Greg Popovich
You said that Kerr is not a great identifier of talent. Phil Jackson didn't, outside of those 3, everybody that they added were free agents. They didn't add
no.
any. There's
I don't
anybody
think
that they drafted wasn't. You can't name a good Bulls draft pick other than Tony Kukoc in that Jordan era. You can't think of nobody.
I don't think
Same
that
with Phil
Steve
Jackson at the
Kerr-
Lakers. They didn't
I
draft
don't think that
nobody.
Steve Kerr has gotten. I think that Phil Jackson gets way more out of Jonathan Kuminga. I think he gets way more out of Moses Moody. I think he gets way more out of Andrew Wiggins. I think that, and I honestly think that he gets more out of Clay. I just like, and I'm talking about old Clay. I'm talking about last year's Clay. I just think that. I think this.
But your
Steve
original
Kerr
point was that Steve Kerr doesn't identify talent well.
And if I said that, I misspoke.
It.
No. That's not his responsibility. He hasn't. Now, the Podziemski thing, I think that was just a terrible.
And you said the Podziemski thing lends to the fact that Steve Kerr can't identify talent.
Develop. Well, if I say identify talent, I meant develop talent. I think that he's had decent players around him and he hasn't made them better. I think that Jonathan Kuminga is a reasonable basketball player in the NBA. I don't think that Jonathan Kuminga has had like a season where he's gotten enough opportunity. Just don't think so.
I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, because I think a lot of with any great player, when you're a young player trying to play, that's going to apply to you. You don't really see a bunch of young players, except for like what, the Spurs. The Spurs was the only one.
He's 22 years old. He's been in the league since 2001. I mean, I guess it's not really that long ago either. I know.
2021?
Yeah, 2021. I don't like what they're doing with Jonathan Kuminga, and I don't like what they're doing with Moses Moody. They're in a position where they're not really trying to let him go.
Moses Moody wrong. I do think they did him wrong. Horribly.
I think they're holding them, but they don't want to. They're hedging their bets. Like, they don't want to let him go, but they won't let him play either. And it's like, what are you doing? Do something. Make one move. Either decide we're gonna let them go and we're gonna get some new players, or play them.
I think they're about to trade. They're about to trade him for somebody.
You think?
I would hope not. I would expect. Well, I don't know, because they went the route of trying to get a big, and none of them worked out. So then they got Kevon Looney. So I mean, Golden State really needs a big in the
I
West.
will give Steve Kerr that much. Out of one player that I do think he got the absolute most out of, he got all the juice out of Kevon Looney. Looney was at like 19 and 11 one time. He was saying, hey.
I don't think, did he draft Looney?
I don't know where Kevon Looney came from. He just showed up one day and it was like, yeah, we're going to just have you on the team. You get every rebound. Kevon Looney was getting 20 rebounds one game. I was like, bro.
In the finals. In the Boston Celtics, when they signed a 7'4" man the next year. They said, never again will that happen.
Loon was playing. Loon was hooping. I will give Steve Kerr. You got Kevon Looney to play the best of his abilities, but I would like to see you do that with Jonathan Kuminga instead. It'd be way more beneficial to you.
Lakers, last topic. Lakers. Bron forcing their hand. I wasn't going to come in here and talk. I was going to talk about that the Lakers are through. They ain't got nothing to do. They don't. But, I mean, you have been thrown a life raft by the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know how you make that happen, but you can. DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray is the life raft. They're trying to get off of D'Lo, and D'Lo
robbed us last year.
You trying to yeah. Shout out to you, Landry.
Hey, hold on. Bleacher Report, ESPN, stop putting that same sorry ass trade package together for Trae Young. I don't even like Trae Young, and I'm not taking Rui Hashimashi. I'm not taking Gabe. I'm not taking D'Angelo and some pick swap. Bruh, I ain't gonna. There's nothing that pisses me off more than that same stupid trade. And you know me, I'm an idiot. Oh, new trade opportunities. I go click every time. Yo, Gabe is only gonna be good when he goes back to Miami, which I think he does. Rui Hashimashi is the new Taylor Horton Tucker, where LeBron try to sell y'all on a product, which is surely trash. He tried to tell y'all Taylor was good. And y'all don't even, Taylor is in Utah or somewhere else just wasting away because he's not a good basketball player. And D'Angelo Russell, everybody just hates him. And he only good half the time.
Yeah, they go D'Angelo Russell to the Pelicans for DeJounte Murray and a pick. Or, I'm sorry, New Orleans will get a pick, and it's going to be a 2029.
But if you take D'Angelo for DeJounte, if you're the GM, fire yourself and go ahead and trade Zion. Because
we got the Lakers pick next year, don't we?
Yes, that's the reason it was great for us to beat them. Like, we have no control over our pick, so we're just waiting on the Lakers to lose. Now, the great news is the Lakers suck, and they're
bad for now. But LeBron gonna force them to do something.
Or best case scenario,
trade
LeBron leaves, and if LeBron leaves, first round pick, number 1 pick, baby. Y'all know that place becomes, anytime that LeBron leaves, the place comes a landfill. And we would love that right now, boy. If we get, now the Hawks mess around, get Cooper Flag.
And play him at the what? What would you play at the 2? The 3?
All-time quarterback. I don't care what he plays. Cooper Flag. Boy. Oh, Ricochet, you go to the bench. You're going to the bench.
Wow.
Let me tell you that.
The number 1 pick from last year goes to the bench for the number 1 pick this year.
Who got a problem with it?
That's unlikely. But there are other players, and the Hawks are going to draft a big man. They're going to draft
Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's going to be another.
There's a dude at Michigan right now who's
We're going to redraft another Zachary Ricochet type of player. No. Actually, we need a 5.
Yeah, we're going to get a 5 because there's a 5 at Michigan right now who plays like Isaiah. He played like Isaiah Hartenstein. He plays exactly like Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh, and I want to go back to that. I told y'all, Nick. Hartenstein was not the guy for y'all to let go. And now look at y'all. Look at you looking stupid in the face.
He got dominated today, though.
Fine. I don't care. I do not care. Hartenstein was a good player.
Actually, no, he did
contract.
Not. No, he did not.
Good player on a good contract who just was
No, he was a free agent. They did not pay him. They offered him. And the OKC came in with the $70-something million.
No. His contracts, Hartenstein is on a good contract.
It's like
great contract.
$84 million, 70-something, 77, 72.
That's what starters cost. And that's a good, $87 million for 3 years, $29 million, $30 million a year for a big that can rim protect, pass, and score.
So you would have taken Hartenstein over Karl Anthony Towns, is what you're saying?
At that, Karl Anthony Towns is $50 million. Yes, I would like $13 more million, especially after we overpaid OG. And you got Bridges, and you can't stop nothing in the paint. Yeah.
So because I think the Knicks fans at the 5 with Karl Anthony Towns, the way that he is playing, I think they're more than happy. I think with that whole exchange, I think that they do need Mitchell Robinson to come back very
then what
soon.
Happens to your team? Then your team is completely different if you're gonna start Mitchell Robinson at the 5.
No, you don't start him at the 5. You bring him in off the bench. Karl Anthony Towns is the starting 5. Their starting is fine. The only thing that they can add is
you have no defense at the rim. You have no just playing to get crushed.
The only thing that you could do is if you sign you would have to sign a 5 and then move Karl Anthony to the 4 and bring Josh Hart off the bench. But I don't think that's not what he is. He's a 5. They would have to, you could bring like a Paul Reed at the 4 and play defense.
If this starting 5,
John
you
Collins
don't get enough boards,
but you don't have enough money. Well, yeah, you do.
OG is an overpay. Costs too much.
I mean, we've established that. But what I'm saying is, you were talking about Hartenstein. So Hartenstein versus Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know if they would if they had an undo button. I don't know if they would do that. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't actually.
Okay, then good luck. When you can't stop anybody, especially when you have to play half court basketball in playoff, I don't want to hear anything because the big bodega ain't gonna do it. That's the one. Look at what we did to him. You paid too much money to not be able to beat the Hawks at your house and at their house. That was a message sent. Cleveland, I think we were fortunate. The Knicks, we sent a message, and we can wrap that up with this: Trey rolled the dice on the logo. You've opened yourself up to a can of worms that you are not ready for. Number one, if I'm any other player and I'm elite, I want to roll the dice on the Knicks logo now. Like if it's me, that's the thing now. I'm here to roll the dice.
Yeah. Nah. Eventually somebody's gonna. I think that's something that could only happen once, maybe twice. And I think because
who's gonna stop them? Who on the Knicks is gonna?
That's what I'm saying. The Knicks' manhood is questioned by the entire league and the entire alumni base of the New York Knicks. All the players were like, "Yeah, that can't happen." I mean,
you got to punch him in. Like you have to 300 kick him for that.
They gonna try to beat us by 100. We played him in February again, right? They gonna try to beat us by 100.
As soon as Trey did that, I said, "Bro, Trey's an asshole for that." But it's like any little person. You let them do it, they gonna do it.
And y'all talk trash to him. You said he looked like a lollipop and had all those Trey Young and spit on him and all that stuff. You lucky I ain't pee on that logo. You spit on me, dog.
And he's like, and like now, I almost named the show this. He's Andrew Dice Trey. Like he rolled the dice on your logo. And we know New Yorkers gamble. They play CeeLo. They play craps. Like the Vegas thing was cool, but you can't let Trey do that. Not at 164 pounds. That's what Baron Davis and Draymond said. But there's nobody over there that's going to do anything about it.
Literally everybody said.
And I respect Jaylen Brown for saying, well, if you don't want him to do that, then you beat him. True, but it's like T.O. on the star. It's certain things we just not playing with, especially as the Knicks.
Trey gonna get a flagrant one next time we play. I can tell you that. Somebody gonna do something because they're gonna put it. Yeah, somebody gonna hit him.
That's too offensive. Like that's I don't know. Like that's the planting the flag in the middle of the field while the game is going on type of thing.
No, that's
and Jalen Brunson, you look, as much as everybody likes you look soft for that. You're the leader of that team. You let him do it. It's certain things as like, I can only liken this to being in a fraternity. And there are just certain things that I know that I can't let people do. It just can't happen. I don't want the phone call that comes with that. I don't want nah, you thought that was okay? Like, there are certain things that come with too much respect. And every now and then you just got to choose violence.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of episode 171.
No, 171.
171. I was looking at the time. 171 of the Splashcast. Noel, if we ain't miss anything, take us out.
Thank you guys for rocking with us on part 2 of episode 171, Red, White, Black, and Blue. Please go back and listen to the pregame where we talk about people getting their face knocked off. Thank you guys for rocking with us on this beloved Monday and Tuesday night for the people who watch it in the live stream. Hawks will play tomorrow. Congratulations on the Milwaukee Bucks winning something that does not matter at all. Number one.
You say that because we lost.
You think that I would say to the Hawks fans that this matter? Come on now.
The Hawks don't play till Thursday.
They don't play tomorrow?
Nope. There's no games tomorrow.
Good. I'm okay with that. Let us get rest. Everybody need to come back healthy. Number one, more Black baseball. Also, I hate the Yankees. I think they purchased Cody Bellinger today. from the Chicago Cubs. Number two, there's more Cowboys and Cowgirls. Number 3, the historically Black college and university your cousin went to, your auntie went to, your uncle went to, the person you sit in the back of church went to. Please send some money over there. The historically Black college university in your neighborhood, the one that you go to for step shows, homecoming, or just to be around your people, or a place to feel safe and comfortable. Please send some money over there. And then the historically Black college gave me a degree, gave Reggie a degree, the greatest art institution in all the world, one of the best college football program, HBCU college football programs in the world, the Hampton University. All we asking for is $18.68 on behalf of the university was founded. Outside of that, thank you guys for rocking with us. We've had a fantastic Monday and Tuesday. Adios, mi amigo. And y'all wish health to my boy Reg. Hope he feel better.
Yeah, my voice gone.
Outside of that, y'all be safe.
Peace,
Reggie,
we out of here.
I was gonna call you Reggie White, but I guess not Reggie White.
We love y'all. Peace.
Until next time.
What should they do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend. Be here for it.